Week 23 of the fantasy baseball season, and it's a crucial week, no doubt about it, in the final four of most playoff races in your fantasy league, or in the first round, depending if you play a week 25. But anyway, here's a few hitters I looked at this week. The first guy, Elvis Andrus of the Chicago White Sox. Andrus, since he's been on Chicago over the last few weeks here, he's really kicked it into gear, and he's playing good baseball on the season. 13 home runs, 50 RBIs, 9 stolen bases, 55 runs scored, a 251 average, and a 308 on base. But over the last few weeks here for Andrus, 5 home runs, 16 RBIs, stolen base, 11 runs scored, a 351 average, and a 393 on base. So right now that batting average is way up there. That on base is great, even though it's a lower ratio on base to batting average here for Elvis Andrus. But we know shortstop's been a weak position all season long here for the most part in fantasy baseball. And right now he's still out there in tons of fantasy leagues, is Andrus, at 68%. So the last few games here for him: September 6th at Seattle, 0 for 4. September 7th at Seattle, 1 for 4 with a run. September 8th at Oakland, 2 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored. September 9th at Oakland, 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs, a stolen base. September 10th at Oakland, 2 for 5, 2 runs, a homer, 3 RBIs. And September 11th at Oakland, 0 for 3. So right here, it's been a resurgence this season for him with the Chicago White Sox. He's leading off. He's playing every day now as Andrus. And if you need a guy who's going to help you in batting average, steal bases, even though he's not the base stealer like he once was, but he still has 9 on the season here as Andrus. And also showing some pop as well and run scoring. He'll definitely help your fantasy team out this week. The next guy, Fraley of the Cincinnati Reds. So Fraley here getting an everyday opportunity with Cincinnati, and he's been playing good baseball since he got called up over the last month and a half here on the season. 6 home runs, 21 RBIs, 6 stolen bases, 27 runs scored, a 270 average, and a 320 on base. But over the last month of the season, he's red hot, is Fraley here. 6 homers, 14 RBIs, 14 runs scored, a stolen base, a 362 average, and a 410 on base. So another guy here could steal some bases, a guy show some pop and score runs. And this Red team, we know they're not going anywhere this season. One of the worst teams in the National League here. And they've been playing the young guys, and they've been playing good baseball. Some of the younger guys, they're given an opportunity, and they actually have some fantasy value. He's available right now in 81% of leagues. So the last few games here for him: September 4th versus the Rockies in a doubleheader, 4 for 8, 2 homers, 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored. September 7th at the Cubs, 2 for 5. September 8th at Chicago, Cubs 0 for 4 with a run. September 9th in Milwaukee, 2 for 5, 2 runs, a homer, RBI. September 10th at the Brewers, 0 for 3. And September 11th at the Brewers, 0 for 4 with an RBI. So right now he's batting first as well, just like Elvis Andrus. And he's going to help in runs scored, and he's going to help in stolen bases and batting average. So right now, if you need a utility guy or an outfielder, TJ Fraley is definitely a good add this week. The next guy, Eduardo Escobar of the New York Mets. So Escobar, all of a sudden, since he came off the injury list here, he's catching fire. And I think what the Mets calling up Brett Beatty a few weeks ago when Escobar was banged up, a little fire under him that he wasn't going to let the rookie take his job. So on the season here for Escobar, 16 home runs, 52 RBIs, 47 runs scored, a 235 average, and a 286 on base. But over the last couple weeks here, he's hitting 436 with 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, 6 runs scored, a 465 on base percentage. So right now, he's playing great baseball, no doubt about it, as Escobar. He's got good versatility as well at first, second, and third. And he's available in 52% of fantasy leagues, and he's been one of the better Met hitters over the last couple weeks here, with Marte going down with injury, Pete Alonso slumping for the most part here, and Escobar's picking it up, especially in the power department. September 4th versus the Nats, 1 for 3. September 6th at the Pirates, 1 for 3. September 7th at the Pirates in a doubleheader, 6 for 9, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. September 9th in Miami, 1 for 4. September 10th in Miami, 3 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs. And September 11th at Miami, 2 for 4, a homer, an RBI, and 2 runs scored in that one. So right now he's got 3 home runs in his last 4 games here as Escobar. And if you need some pop and versatility and some RBIs here, he'll definitely help fantasy owners with that. And he's available in 52% of fantasy leagues. The next guy is Oneil Cruz of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Cruz, one of the top prospects in all Major League Baseball, coming up before the season started, and he came up a couple months ago. And yes, it's been a bad start here for Cruz and a slow start, but he's been picking things up of late here on the season. 14 home runs, 43 RBIs, 31 runs scored, 6 stolen bases, but the 231 average and the 279 on base is what I was alluding to. Also with the 96 strikeouts in 247 at-bats. But over the last month here, he's been pretty solid, his Oneil Cruz. 5 homers, 14 RBIs, 9 runs scored, 270 average, and a 323 on base. So it looks like the game's slowing down a little bit here for Cruz, which obviously is a good thing. He was striking out early and often a lot when he first got called up a few months ago, but now it's slowed down for him. He's showing the power, obviously. 14 home runs in only 247 at-bats. And he's a guy that could steal bases and do it all for this Pirate team. September 4th versus Toronto, 1 for 4, a homer and RBI. September 6th versus the Mets, 3 for 5, a homer, 2 ribs, 2 runs scored. September 7th versus the Mets, 3 for 8. September 9th versus St. Louis, 3 for 5, a run, 3 RBI. September 10th versus St. Louis, 2 for 5, a homer. And September 11th versus St. Louis, 0 for 4 with an RBI and a stolen base. So like I said, Cruz could do a little bit of everything. You want to see that batting average go up, which it has over the last month of the season here. And this guy, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come for the Pirates and fantasy owners. So right now, I know he's not available in a lot of fantasy leagues, but if he's out there in the 41% of leagues that he is in your league, it's time to pick him up. The next guy, Eric Haase of the Detroit Tigers. So Haase last season, he was pretty solid with the power for a guy qualifying a catcher who just doesn't play catcher every day here. Last year, 22 homers. This season, 12 homers, 39 RBIs, 35 runs scored, a 253 average, and a 303 on base. But over the last month of the season here, 4 homers, 10 RBIs, 9 runs scored, a 303 average, and a 347 on base. So right here, we know catch is a weak position in fantasy baseball, and we know this Tiger team's going nowhere. So a guy like Haase is going to continue to get the everyday opportunity, even though he's playing stagnantly on and off over the last few weeks. But in the everyday starts here, September 4th versus the Royals, 1 for 4. September 5th at the Angels, 0 for 4. September 6th at the Angels, 1 for 2. September 7th with a ball game at the Angels, 5 for 5 with a homer in that one. September 9th at the Royals, 3 for 5. 2 homers, 3 RBIs. And September 10th at the Royals, 0 for 4. So right now, he's getting things going. 3 home runs in his last 3 starts here. And he's got 8 hits in his last 3 games as well here, is Eric Haase. So right now, available widely, 85% of fantasy leagues here. If you need catcher help or even a utility hitter, Haase could definitely help fantasy owners this week. The next guy, Josh Jung of the Texas Rangers. So their top infield prospect called up a few days ago here is Josh Jung. And guess what? He stole a base and homered in his major league debut here is Josh Jung. So on the season, I know it's very early, obviously only 3 for 12 on the year with a homer, an RBI, a stolen base, and 2 runs scored. But this guy, he's got the 5 tools type of play is Josh Jung, no doubt about it. Available in 80% of fantasy leagues. And this Ranger team, for the next 3-4 weeks here before the season ends, they're going to go with the younger guys. And Jung is one of them. I know he had a 4 strikeout game last night here is Jung, but this is a guy that definitely has the tools to be a good player, and a guy who has the tools to help fantasy owners now. So the first 3 games of his MLB career, September 9th versus Toronto, 2 for 4, a homer, an RBI, a stolen base. September 10th versus Toronto, 1 for 4 with a run. And then September 11th, it was obviously unfortunate yesterday, 0 for 4 with the golden sombrero, but now a doubleheader here at the Miami Marlins today. And I think Jung could get things going a little bit here and at least play 1 game, obviously, or possibly even both. But right now, the Rangers are going to play him. They want to see what they got with one of their top prospects in the system. And he's a guy that I think fantasy owners should give a shot to, at least to hold on the bench or use as a utility play. The next hit is Oscar González of the Cleveland Guardians. So Gonzalez, he's been heating up of late here. And this Guardian team, it's been a good season for them, believe it or not. First place in the AL Central. So on the season for Gonzalez, 7 home runs, 32 RBIs, 23 runs scored, a stolen base, 296 average, and a 328 on base. So Gonzalez here, he's only been up a few months this season, but he's showing some power, and he's showing that he can hit the baseball and puts it in play as well on the year. On the last couple weeks here for him, 2 homers, 9 RBIs, 4 runs scored, a 313 average, and a 365 on base for Gonzalez. So Gonzalez here playing good baseball, getting an everyday opportunity of late here, and he's making the most of it. And right now, I think he has fantasy value more in deeper leagues than 10 and 12 team leagues, available in 52% of leagues here is González. So the last few games, September 5th at the Royals, 2 for 5, 2 RBIs. September 6th at the Royals, 1 for 4 with a run. September 7th at the Royals, 2 for 3 with a run. September 9th, the Monster Ball game, 4 for 5, 2 homers, 5 RBI. September 10th in Minnesota, 1 for 4 with a RBI. And September 11th in Minnesota, 0 for 4. So right here, González, he's been playing great baseball. He's showing some pop for this Guardian team. And he's a guy fantasy owners should definitely consider because he's going to get batting average. He's going to help you in power and RBIs. And he does a little bit of everything, which is obviously good for fantasy baseball. The next guy is Lane Thomas of the Washington Nationals. So Thomas, over the last couple seasons, he's been a good find here for the Nationals. After making a trade last season, getting them in one of the 5 trades this team made on the season, 15 home runs, 49 RBIs, 6 stolen bases, 53 runs scored, a 253 average, and a 308 on base. So right now he wasn't getting the opportunity in St. Louis last season, but now coming to Washington last year in the 2021 trade deadline, he's getting an opportunity and he's making the most of it. And over the last month of the season, he's been playing good, 5 homers, 13 RBIs, 16 runs scored, a 294 average, and a 353 on base. So right now available in tons of leagues as well at 86% of leagues here is Lane Thomas, a guy who could show some pop for this national team. So right now he's going to score the runs. He's going to get some home runs as well. And he's not really going to hurt you in many categories at all, is Thomas. September 6th at the Cardinals, 1 for 4. September 7th at the Cardinals, 1 for 5. September 8th at the Cardinals, 2 for 6. September 9th at Philly, 2 for 4, run, a rib, a stolen base. September 10th at Philly, 3 for 5 with a run and 2 RBIs. And September 11th at Philly, 2 for 5. So right now he's been hot here, is Lane Thomas, with 4 games in a row with multiple hits. And he's also on a 8-game hitting streak as well. So right now, if you need an outfielder or just a utility hitter that's going to put the ball in play, he's going to get his hit, show power, and steal some bases, I think Lane Thomas is definitely a good add this week. The next hitter is Fraley of the Seattle Mariners. So Raleigh here, a catcher with monster power this season. 23 home runs, 54 RBIs, 207 average, 280 on base. So obviously batting average and on base, he's going to hurt you. But if you just need pure power and you could give up the batting average and on base and you get it at other positions, why not here? Not many catchers can hit 20-plus home runs anymore in the major leagues. And Raleigh's been a big pickup over the last week, added in 24% of fantasy leagues, but still out there in 61% of leagues. And over the last month, he's got 7 homers with 15 RBI. So right now, it seems like he's starting to get that everyday opportunity here for this Mariner team. And this Mariner team, they're prime for a playoff push. September 4th at Cleveland, 1 for 2, a homer, 2 RBI. September 5th versus the White Sox, 1 for 4 with a run. September 6th versus the White Sox, 1 for 3, a homer, 2 RBIs. September 9th versus Atlanta, 1 for 4. September 10th versus Atlanta, 0 for 4. And September 11th versus Atlanta, 0 for 3 with a run. So right here, like I said, he's not going to help with average and on base. But if you just want the pure power and RBIs, Cal Raleigh could definitely get that going for fantasy owners. And I would give him an add this week. And the final hitter I'd look to add this week is Jake Fraley of the Cincinnati Reds. So Fraley, we've seen flashes from him throughout the last few seasons here when it was with the Seattle Mariners. But now on the Reds this year, he's been getting an everyday opportunity of late. And on the season, 10 homers, 23 RBIs, 29 runs scored, 3 stolen bases, 252 average, and a 343 on base. But over the last month here, pretty solid numbers. 7 homers, 14 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 21 runs scored, a 287 average, and an awesome 380 on base here for Fraley. So like I said, he's playing every day. This Red team, they got nothing to play for, but just to see what the younger guys have. And he's still young as Fraley. Obviously, like I said, coming up in the Mariner system, and he was in the Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez deal in the offseason. So the last few games here for him, September 4th in a doubleheader versus the Rockies, 1 for 7 with a run and a rib. September 6th at the Cubs, 0 for 2. September 7th versus the Cubs, 1 for 3, a homer, an RBI, 2 runs scored. September 8th at the Cubs, 2 for 4. September 9th at the Brewers, 2 for 4, homer, and RBI, 2 runs scored. September 10th at the Brewers, 0 for 3. And September 11th at the Brewers, 1 for 3 with a run. So he's been playing good baseball. A few multiple hit games in there, showing some power. And this guy's just a hustler and a baseball player that can help fantasy owners. And right now, he's available as well in 77% of fantasy leagues. So that's a few hitters that definitely can help fantasy owners this week here in a big week 23 in the playoffs of the fantasy baseball season.